Good day, and welcome to the Impact Investing Show with your host, Samuel. I Can Win, It Can Win. Guys, today is the day. We got so much to go through and not that much time, but you know how it is. Guys, what I want you to do, if you are brand new to the show, this is your first time ever tuning in to the Impact Property Show, to find out, to ask questions about property, wherever you are joining us from, I want you to write the word new in the chat. Let us see the word new in the chat if you are brand new to the show. Now, if you're one of those people who are back again, you're rocking with me and have been rocking with me through maybe the 21 days of your property investing success, which we finished earlier on this month, or whether it be through the 5-day Property Finance Bootcamp, which we actually finished yesterday, let me know that you are back again by simply writing in the comments, back again. Guys, as you can see, I have the energy today because we have so much stuff to talk to you about. And it's funny, I think today's show, we're really going to be focusing on bad tenants. I hope we're not, but I guess that's probably the region that we're going into. Now, why do I say we're going to potentially be speaking about bad tenants today? It's quite simple, because this week I have had so many people reaching out to me about the bad tenants they're dealing with. Okay, I've had people telling me about bad tenants in places outside of London. I've had people telling me about bad tenants in Reading. I've had people telling me about bad tenants all over the gaff, as the East Londoners usually say. But guys, let me tell you something. Bad tenants do not equal no revenue, and bad tenants don't have to equal no money. Now, let's go into the show. First and foremost, guys, I want to welcome you to the Impact Property Show. Like I've said already, if you are new to the show, I want you to write the word new in the chat. This is the YouTube channel where you get creative property investing on demand. And if it's your first time of seeing me, your first time of engaging with me, your first time of meeting me virtually, I'm Samuel. I can win, it can win. I'm a property strategist and property investor who helps other property investors move further, faster by using creative property investing as a vehicle. Now, guys, this is episode 42, okay? Episode 42. For those of you who do not know, this is episode 42 of the Impact Property Show. And guys, I don't even know how we got here, but for those of you who really don't know how we got here, let me tell you how it all happened. Last year, around March, I was the host of one of the largest property investment networking events in the whole of the UK. We would generally attract to our meeting over 100 delegates, and every single month, over 100 people will come to hear the speakers that I would invite and also to learn more about property investing. It was actually at that meeting that I realized that there are so many people who want to learn how to use creative property investing to move forward in their property investing journey. So March came last year, and so did the lockdown, so did the pandemic, so did all of these buzzwords, which on YouTube we're not really supposed to speak about. So we'll just speak about them as the dilemma. So last year, the dilemma hit. And when the dilemma hit, I had people reaching out to me on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger, all over the place saying, Samuel, what do I do about this? Samuel, what do I do about that? Samuel, what do I do? And as a result, I said to my team, I said, guys, look, I can't answer all these phone calls. I can't answer all these Facebook messages. I can't answer all this stuff that's coming through. But what we can do is find a way that I can help all of these people, because I want to help the community. But how can I do that without all of the time? And the team said something fantastic. They said, Samuel, you know what you need to do? You need to make yourself available on a regular basis in order to help people move further, faster in their property investing journey. And thus, the Impact Property Show was born. Now, when we started this show, we called this show Strategy in a Storm. And the first embryo of this show was Strategy in a Storm, quite simply because we wanted to help people strategize through the property storms that they were facing, that they might have been facing, or that you may have been facing, depending on if you are one of those people. Now, over time, this has grown and grown and grown. And what we started to realize as we were helping people who were calling in, helping people who were messaging in through the chat, we started to realize something very simple. We started to realize that we were actually teaching people how to invest in property. And thus, we morphed the show into the Impact Property Show, where we basically show you how to invest in property. And one of my mottos, which I share all the time, is no question is too big, and certainly no question is too small. So if you're tuning in to the Impact Show today, Saturday, 6 p.m., as we have our show every single week, what I want to do is welcome you to the show and let you know that this is the place where you can get your property questions answered. Now, my question is, what makes episode 42 different? What makes today's episode different? Guys, there are so many things that makes today different, but I'm going to share with you one thing that makes episode 42 extremely different. And that's the fact that this is our first episode since the 5-day property finance bootcamp that we ran last week. And boy, that was a jam-packed week. I'd love for anyone who's in the chat, who's watching this, whether live or on replay, if you are part of our 5-day property finance bootcamp, to just put one word in the chat that describes how you found the 5-day property finance bootcamp. Now, look, as a trainer, as a coach, as someone supporting other investors, I found it awesome. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that I found it awesome. It was an awesome 5 days that we spent during that bootcamp, teaching people how to raise practically millions of pounds in order to invest in property and move forward even faster. Now, if you're interested in the 5-day bootcamp, let us know in the chat. Just write the word interested and we can get a member of the team in the chat to connect with you and share with you how you can move forward also. Now, what I want to do on today's show is I want to get the phone line open as soon as possible. The reason I want to get the phone line open as soon as possible is because I know we're going to be speaking about a number of different news articles on today's show. And a lot of these articles are going to be fairly interesting articles. Articles that, I don't know. I don't know if you've come across these articles already this week, or if these are things that are just new to you guys because you haven't looked at these kind of things ever. But guys, one of the things we do on the show is we go through news articles, okay, and we start to help people. We start to help people see exactly how they can utilize this information in order to get better results in their property investing journey. So today is no different to any other show. We're going to be doing the same thing that we usually do. We're going to be sharing with you guys the news, letting you guys know what's going down in the property investing world. And guys, I hope you are ready. Okay, if you are ready, let me see in the chat the word ready. I hope you are ready to see what we are going to be discussing, because guys, I'm telling you, we're going to be looking at an article for the 29th of January, which was very, very insightful. Something that was released just yesterday. Again, as I mentioned, very, very insightful in order to give you some food for thought. Let me use that terminology, some food for thought as it pertains to how you might or might not be able to move forward in property. And this is why, guys, it's important for you to really, really stay abreast of the information that is coming out as it pertains to property. Okay. Now, hopefully all our articles will be readable, because I know last week we had a couple of articles we couldn't actually read due to the color coding that we have on the system. But again, you know, even if they're not readable, I can still read them out to you guys and let you guys know what's being said. We're also going to be doing a bit of a contrastive comparison in today's show, which I think is going to be helpful for those of you Uber investors, those of you who are a bit more advanced. We're going to be looking at the Australian market with another article which was released on the 29th also, and just looking at what's happening down under. That was not an Australian accent. I apologize, guys. But we are going to be looking at what's been happening down under as it pertains to property also. So, like I said, if this is your first time on the show, write the word new in the chat. Let us be able to welcome you. And if you are back again, just write simply the term back again, so we know that you are one of the people that we see regularly on the show. And we're looking forward to pushing forward onto that show and showing you guys exactly what we have in store. So are you ready? If you're ready, let me see the word ready in the chat, and we are going to jump straight into the disclaimer. Straight after the disclaimer, we are going to push forward into today's show. All right, now, firstly, our disclaimer: all information provided and results given are exemplary. Each person's results may vary or differ. Results are based on consistent implementation of strategies, and we advise, yes, we advise that you always seek legal and financial advice from a qualified professional. Okay, guys, I hope you are adhering to the information that we have shared there. I got my man Eddie Ballroom in the chat who says ready. I got Susie4 who says ready. Hi, I'm back again. Love to see you guys back again. Love to see the chat popping off. Now, let me say this before we even dig deeper, okay? Just a few things I want to say. Before we even dig deeper. Now, Ellie Ballroom in the chat says nice cap, boom. Thank you ever so much. This is our one seller away cap. These are our premium caps. Our caps and t-shirts are usually sent to people who decide to stay with us on our 7-module program. Ellie Ballroom, thank you for spotting the cap in the shop. Now, first and foremost, guys, I want to share some massive appreciation to you. Okay, you might be sitting there thinking, Samuel, are you talking about me? I'm talking about you. Okay, we got massive appreciation for every single person who's tuned into this content right now, who's watching, every single person who's hit that subscribe button, every single person who's pressed the bell and said, give me all those notifications from Impact Properties, and also every single person who, when you watch these videos, you press like. Guys, I just want to share my appreciation. The reason why is because our channel has been immensely growing, and that's not down to me. Okay, I can show up every single week, but if you guys do not like the content, if you guys do not get value from the content, if you guys don't push the content by hitting that share, hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, guys, the channel doesn't go anywhere. So I just want to say a great big thank you to every single person who's watching, whether you are contributing through means of watch time, through means of likes, through means of subscribes, through means of, you know, the bell. guys, thank you. We appreciate you for watching. We appreciate you for being a part of the show. So today's show, the Impact Show. Now, firstly, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel even more, we have several ways you can do that. Links in the description. Feel free to go look in the description. You can contribute to our new studio build. Right now, I'm in a temporary studio. This is my office being used as a studio, and we are building currently a brand new purpose-built studio for the Impact Show and all our other content creation endeavors. So if you're interested in supporting that, you can go over to impactproperties.co.uk/studio build, where you will be able to actually contribute through means of our Amazon wish list, or you can go to impactproperties.co.uk/donate, where you'll be able to contribute through means of a financial gift. I think that uses PayPal, utilizing PayPal. The team will know. But guys, be a part of what we're doing. Help us move further faster so we can help you move further faster in your property journey. Now, like I said, I wanted to open up the phone lines ASAP, as soon as possible. So it's open. Phone lines open right now. If you want to be a part of tonight's show, feel free to call in 0330-606-0403. I'll say that again. That's 0330-606-0403. Call in. Make sure you've got a note of the access code, because you're going to need that in order to be on the show. But guys, if you have a property problem, if you have a property challenge, let us know what are the property challenges you are facing. So the phone line is open as of right now. Feel free to call in and let us know what your property challenges are so we can help you answer those challenges. Now, I got the readies in the chat. So without further ado, let's jump into the news. Now, for today's show, what I wanted to really bring to the fore firstly, okay, the first thing I wanted to share with you guys was something very, very simple, something I stumbled upon. But let's even go to the other article first, because I think that one is even more interesting. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Australian market very quickly, and this is going to be helpful. Some people are going to be thinking, I'm investing in London, what has the Australian market got to do with me? Or I'm investing in England, what has the Australian market got to do with me? Guys, let me tell you something. Every market has something to do with every other market. I'm going to say that one more time. Every market has something to do with every other market. And the reason why is because when you understand how these markets work, you understand that they have knock-on effects on one another. Okay, when you understand how these markets work, you start to understand that they have knock-on effects on one another. Now, I've got a slight feeling we're going to have an issue. Hopefully we won't have with our article today, but like I said, I'm happy to read it out to you guys regardless. So let's put that on the screen and let's see if we can push forward with that. Now, as I mentioned, guys, first, the phone line is open. Feel free to take full advantage of that. Now, headline, okay? Headline release. This is The Guardian, obviously big tabloid paper in the UK. It says, headline, out of control, Australian property market to rise to record highs this year. Okay, so I hope you're paying attention. This is 2021. This article was released yesterday, the 29th of January, 2021. Please, please, please pay attention to this, because this kind of stuff can make the massive differences. Okay, so the Australian market is actually set to hit record highs this year. First-time buyers and tree changes are expected to push prices to record highs. Okay, so they're saying predominantly it's the first-time buyers and people that are looking for C homes, people that are looking for tree homes, people that are looking for more space. And we understand the same things happening over here in the UK. We have the similar trend right now. We've got probably not as much as the first-time buyers, because in the UK, our market is a little bit more inflated than the Australian market. So to buy a house in the UK is typically generally harder than to buy a house in Australia. Now, some people might say, Samuel, you're not qualified to say that. How do you say that? The reason you say that is because you can look at the statistics of how old the average age of a person who buys a house in the UK and the average age of a person who buys a house in Australia, and that will give you an indication of whether it's easier or harder to generally buy a property in a particular location. So I hope you understand exactly what I'm saying. So it says first-time buyers and C and tree changes are expected to push prices to record highs, but the end to JobKeeper and other threats lurk. Okay, so they're saying obviously the COVID etc. situation is also quite apparent there. Let me read through the article. Australian property prices are set to rise to record highs this year, driven by a heady cocktail of people seeking a post-COVID lifestyle change, ultra low interest rates, and recession-beating government stimulus, a slew of new data shows. Now, guys, you've got to understand this, okay? This is where this market's going, But what are the characteristics and components forcing this market there? Okay, the thing that's interesting is the characteristics and components pushing this market there are very similar characters and criteria that's taking place here in the UK as well. Okay, we've got stimuluses going on right now, which through means of furlough, etc. Obviously, they're being reduced, but we've got them going on nonetheless. We've also got people with a desire to get post-COVID accommodation. Again, it's also happening over here. We've also got side by side with that ultra low interest rates. Okay, we've got record low interest rates in the UK right now. I hope you guys are seeing these trends because they're not just happening in the UK. Let me keep going on. And again, guys, if you want the link to this news article, just write the word link in the chat and I'll throw the link in the chat. It goes on to say, Sydney has already seen the median house price hit a new record high. Now, those of you who were watching the show last week would have known that I shared the same thing here. I said that since 2012, in 2020, we had records of highest ever median prices in certain localities. So they're saying they've got the same trends happening in Sydney, which is one of the key places in Australia. It says, according to data from the domain, as inner city residents seize the opportunity presented by increased working from home provisions to seek out their dream lifestyles in outer regions such as the Northern Beaches and the Blue Mountains. Julia Doyle, an agent at Cunningham's in Manly, said the double-digit rise in values in the past year was being driven by people wanting to relocate to the beach, low interest rates and very limited stock. Guys, I want you to hear that terminology, very limited stock. We live on an island in the UK, exactly the same, very limited stock. Now guys, listen, if you don't understand what I'm sharing, that's great. If you do understand what I'm sharing, I really do hope that you are working on a plan to take full advantage of this stuff. Okay, because they're telling you that property prices are being affected by a simple process, which we are having the exact same things happening here. Okay, now some people won't understand that, fine. But if you understand that, take advantage of it. What does this mean in terms of your property strategy? What does this mean in terms of how you can maneuver? What does this mean in terms of what you can do moving forward? You see, there are so many people who don't understand how they can move forward. But you can move forward if you understand exactly what we're talking about. So guys, take advantage. Let's jump back in. It says, they say now we're working from home, we can move to the Northern Beaches and not worry about the commute to the city. We are seeing record sales and new benchmarks for properties every week. Okay, so this is a week-on-week increase in terms of people moving out, paying higher prices, etc. It says, so you can sense how keen people are to get in and not get priced out. Okay, so again, what do I always say? Property is a market. You have supply and you have demand. What are they saying? They're saying, well, hold on a minute. The supply is limited, but the demand is increasing. So people week in, week out are going back to these environments, going back to these locations, going to these beaches and saying to themselves, how can I make sure I'm involved? How can I make sure I don't lose out? How can I make sure I get what I want? Okay, so they're saying the demand is strong and the supply is short. It keeps going on. It says other capital cities have also seen a strong recovery with demand fueled by first-time buyers taking advantage of 2020's pandemic-induced dip in values and the government's stamp duty holiday. What else have we got going on in the UK? Exactly the same metrics, guys. Exactly the same metrics. I want you guys to understand what is being said here. Okay? What they're basically telling you is there is drama taking place in 2020. And in order to alleviate that drama, the government have given stimulus packages. The government have gone out of their way to remove stamp duty. And as a byproduct of all of this, the market potentially is now booming. All right. And I want you to understand that the same metrics that are taking place in Australia are taking place in the UK. The only difference is the Australian market, as I mentioned earlier, is probably a slightly easier market in order to acquire property. So you need to understand that the UK market is this close to basically having headlines very similar to what's taking place in the Australian market. Let's go a bit further. I'll go back over the last paragraph. Other capital cities have also seen a strong recovery with demand fueled by first-time buyers taking advantage of 2020's pandemic-induced dip in values and the government stamp duty holiday. One recent report from the consultancy Riskwise estimated Melbourne would join Sydney in seeing an increase in capital growth of between 8 to 12% in 2021. Listen, if you have a 12-month period where you see an 8 to 12% increase in capital growth, let me tell you something, you're winning. Especially if you know the kind of property strategies you need to be using, you are winning. You can be winning immensely. So guys, I want you to be very mindful of that. I'm going to read 2 more paragraphs, then we'll jump off this and jump into one of the other news articles, or we'll check if anybody's calling in on the phone line. Now, it says, the research firm CoreLogic this week said housing values across Australia rose 2.3%. So we're talking 2.3% across Australia. This is the whole of Australia, both the parts which may be rural and people don't buy, the parts which may be desirable and people do buy, as well as the metropolitan cities as well. In the final quarter, 2.3% in the final quarter of last year, to just 0.1% below the previous record high of October 2017. Again, very similar news as what we were reading last week about the UK. Now let's get into the macro economics of this. It says the biggest bounce backs came in areas that saw the biggest COVID-induced declines. Okay, so I hope you understand what this is saying. This is saying the areas where there was the largest drop in property prices due to COVID, pandemic, dilemma scenarios. It basically says those were the areas which had the biggest response in terms of bounce back. Guys, I hope you're thinking about this. I hope you're understanding what this is saying about potentially the UK market. It says the biggest bounce backs came in the areas which saw the biggest COVID-induced declines, such as Kwinana in Perth, up by 8.7%, Burnside in Adelaide, up by 7%, and Brisbane's scenic rim area, up by 6.5%. Last paragraph. Pete Wargent, co-founder of the buyersbuyers.com.au, said, assuming Australia can keep the virus under control, house prices will be breaking new highs this year. We've already seen Sydney getting there, and Melbourne won't be far behind. Guys, I want you to understand the power of what's being reported here. Okay, because if you can understand how this relates to you in the UK as a property investor, you again will be tapping into the resources, the information needed for you to move further faster. You need to start asking yourself, which areas in the UK have been hardest hit? You need to start asking yourself, is there going to be a bounce back effect in those areas equally when the UK start reporting, and not necessarily start doing, but start reporting that the virus is under control? These are things you need to start thinking about as an investor. Don't be confused, don't be deluded, and don't be distracted by all the other things that are taking place in the property world, when there are certain things that are very, very important for you to focus on in order for you to ensure that your strategy takes you exactly where you want it to take you. So that was the article from The Guardian released yesterday. Out of control, Australian house prices hit a high. Australian property market to rise to record highs this year. Guys, let me tell you something. That is information you want to know about, okay? Some people might not know about that. Some people might not realize how important that is, but that is information you want to know about. That's information you can use right now in terms of your investing in the UK, all right, if you know what you're doing. And this is the reason why we have the show, to help you guys start to identify locations, to help you guys start to identify information that will be relevant for you to move forward in your property investing journey. All right, so we're out of that. Let's jump into the next news article. If I can just get that loaded up, that'll be helpful. Again, this is another article which was recently released. This was released on the Property Wire website, I believe. But again, the Property Wire website released this very interesting article. And also, guys, I don't know if you're into the news, if you're into the stuff that comes out. I want you guys to go and check out the stuff that's been taking place with Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan has recently got some of his intentions granted. Let me put it that way. Sadiq Khan has recently got some of his intentions granted as it pertains to what's going on in the property market. So again, you need to look out for that. Make sure you stay up to speed. I didn't want to do more than 2 articles today. So as a result, we'll be wrapping up with the news shortly. But again, I would implore you guys as property investors to go and look into what's actually taking place with Sadiq Khan right now in the news as well. So this is again another article which was released yesterday, 29th of January 2021. This is from Property News on the Property Wire website. Guys, I'm just going to read it, okay? It says, headline, half of buy-to-let lenders can't make stamp duty deadline. Okay, so I want you to be mindful of this. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, we've got a video on the channel all about the stamp duty changes that took place. That video is not in the description, but you can find that the video by going to our channel. We can get it in the description. For those of you who are watching on replay, that video is going to be in the description, all about stamp duty and how you can understand what's basically been taking place. But for those of you who do understand, we all know that the stamp duty deadline is the 31st of March 2021. So that's in 2 months, basically less than 2 months. The stamp duty holiday is going to end. So what's happening with that? Let's find out. It says here, over half of buy-to-let lenders currently active in the market are unable to get a deal done before the stamp duty deadline at the end of March. That is according to buy-to-let broker Mortgages for Business, which warned that only 47% of the buy-to-let lenders who are actively lending at the moment could still make the deadline. Jenny Brown, director of Mortgages for Business, said typically a landlord would want about 100 days to complete a purchase. Clearly, landlords don't have that sort of time on their hands anymore, and they'd urge them to do everything they can to push through a new buy-to-let purchase before the stamp duty holiday ends. Now, I've got some controversial things I want to share about this, so I'll come on to that. And guys, same for you. If you're watching on replay, if you're with us live, let us know in the chat. Like, do you think this is really about the speed that a mortgage can be produced, or do you really think this is more about trying to push, I guess, yeah, I'll say it like that, trying to push more buyers into the market before the stamp duty holiday ends? Okay, you have to ask yourself whose agenda is being placed at work here. Okay, so these are things to think about. But let's keep going. It says top of their property list should be picking the right lender. If landlords go to the wrong one, their transaction is bound to take too long. That could leave them either out of pocket or, in certain circumstances, unable to continue with the purchase if they don't have the funds to pay stamp duty as well as the buy-to-let surcharge. And I guess I'd also add as well as the other fees that are going to be associated. The broker went on to say that even the lenders still capable of doing deals in a quick time frame may well struggle to hit the deadline if solicitors or local authorities drag their feet. I've got something I want to share on this as well, which I think might be helpful to you guys. So if you guys want that little added strategy, just write in the chat, helpful. It also says last July, Rishi Sunak raised the initial stamp duty threshold from 125,000 to 500,000. This holiday period is due to finish on the 31st of March 2021. Now, there's more articles here which I can go into. I'm not going to, but guys, I want you to be understanding that what they're basically saying in this article is who you choose as your lender, who you choose to support you, who you choose to push you forward can make a massive difference. Okay, who you choose to fund your deal can make a massive difference. So guys, I want you to be mindful of this. I see Evan Ellie Ballroom in the chat who says helpful. So let me give you that added bit of help for those of you who are tuning in. Now, there are non-regulated lenders. Okay, I'm going to say this again because you have to understand how this works. There are non-regulated lenders, that is your bridging loan companies, etc., who charge higher interest rates, definitely charge higher interest rates, who could potentially provide you funding in a faster period than traditional lenders. Now, if the deal makes sense, okay, and again, we always advise you to seek financial and legal advice from a qualified professional, but if the deal makes sense, it may be advantageous for you to acquire your property using a bridging loan and then go on to what they call a bridge to term product. Now, if you take a bridge to term product, what that may mean for you is that you can acquire funds very quickly from the bridging component, acquire the property you're trying to buy before the stamp duty deadline ends, and then after the stamp duty deadline, convert onto a term product. Now, there are going to be some guidelines and some stipulations necessary in order for you to do that. So check with your financial advisor, check with your broker, check with the right qualified legal components and people. But guys, I'm telling you, there are still ways that you could take advantage of the stamp duty holiday if you're trying to do that. Now, I always advocate to people, make sure you're buying great deals. Don't just buy any deal. Don't buy a lemon. If you're buying a great deal, it makes it easier for you to do exactly what we are speaking about. So I want you guys to have that in mind. I want you guys to be thinking about that and use that to help yourself move further, faster as it pertains to your property investing journey. Now, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. If you haven't hit subscribe, why not hit subscribe? And side by side with that, press the bell notification. Actually, smash the bell and let the bell know that you want all the notifications every single time we go live, every single time we drop a video, so you can stay up to date with what we're doing in the property space. Now, guys, based on that news, how are you going to change your investing? I'm interested. Okay, let me know in the comments if you're someone who's new, or as we said, Susie4 says back again. If you're back again or you're someone who's new, let me know how you are going to utilize the information I've just shared with you about the Australian market hitting booms, hitting highs that it's never hit before, or side by side with that, of the information that I've just shared with you about what's actually taking place in the market as it pertains to the speed of most conventional lenders. Now, what you have to understand is if most conventional lenders can't lend in a reasonable framework or in a reasonable period that is needed in order for people to take advantage of this stamp duty holiday, that's going to have an effect on how many people are actually using traditional lenders and how many people opt out of that and say, you know what, I'm actually going to find a non-regulated lender, or I'm going to find a different lender. Okay, so if you've got a bridging company, or if you're connected to a bridging company, this might actually be the season where you start to see a real uptake in people looking for your products. Now, another thing which I think is quite interesting is what happens if, okay, I'm going to say that one more time, what happens if the stamp duty holiday is actually extended? Okay, because if the stamp duty holiday is actually extended, then all of these people rushing to get their sales in before the 31st of March may find that they were rushing for no reason. Now, I always encourage people to utilize speed when they're acquiring property, just simply because of the fact that speed usually works in your favor when you are acquiring property. When you're selling property, not always, but when you are acquiring property, speed usually works in your favor. So I always encourage people to use speed when they are taking on new property opportunities. And I do exactly the same right now and say to you that if you're looking at acquiring new properties, you're looking at taking your property investing further, faster, just at least consider how you could potentially do that by taking full advantage of what's going to be available through means of this stamp duty holiday and also other things that are available to you. Now, let me know in the chat, guys. It's opened up in the chat. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about the news articles we've just shared. What are your thoughts? How are you going to use them in order to move forward in your own property investing journey? How are you going to use them in order to move forward in your own property investing journey? Okay, how are you going to use this information? Is this information relevant to you? There are some people who are going to say this information is not relevant to me. I understand, I get it. You don't understand the market the way the market really is. That's cool. Okay, but for everybody else, let me know how you're going to use this in order to move forward in your property investing journey, because that's important. Okay, it's important. It makes a massive difference if you know what you're going to do versus if you do not know what you are going to do. So I'm very, very keen to find out if you guys know what you're going to do as a result of the information that we have just shared with you. Now, for those of you who do have property challenges, as I've mentioned, the line is open. Phone line is below me. Feel free to call in and ask whatever property questions you have. I see Ellie Ballroom's comment in the chat, so I'll go into that in a moment. But guys, feel free to call in. Phone line is on the ticker 0330 606 0403. Feel free to take full advantage of that in order to speak with myself and see if we can help you push forward in your property investing journey. So Eddie Ballroom says in the comments, let me jump into this comment. Oh, powerful. So Ellie Ballroom says they intend to explore the property market up north, which was hit fairly bad by COVID. And guys, that is very, very apparent, especially because of the talk of schools up north being treated differently to schools, down south, in the London regions and other regions below. So this is quite powerful. I think that's actually a very, very good approach to employ as a result of what this news we've shared has actually been. I think that's actually really quite sharp. Ellie Ballroom, thank you for your comments. Also, Ellie Ballroom, let us know how you found the 5-day property finance bootcamp. Give us one word that you would use to describe those 5 days. Okay, Ellie Ballroom was one of our participants for the 5-day boot camp. So let us know how you found it. Be happy to see if we can share how we found that boot camp for those people who weren't able to be participants on the boot camp. Now, guys, looking into the northern cities, I think, is a very powerful thing to do. I think that's just one of many good things you could do as a result. Another thing you could do, which I'll add on, is strategic. Okay, is a strategic thing. How about looking at your strategy and asking yourself, should I actually shift my strategy slightly? Instead of doing the same strategy I've always been doing, okay, instead of doing the same strategy that I've always thought I have to do, why don't I look at potentially doing a slightly different strategy for the first time? Why don't I think about potentially doing a flip in the short period of time that we have, because of the simple fact that I can now see that I can tap into resources that I couldn't tap into previously, i.e. the stamp duty holiday. But after utilizing that holiday, I can then exit the deal through means of a sell. Okay, so again, flips is another approach, a strategy that you might say I'm going to use now because of the changes taking place in terms of the actual movement in the market. So again, guys, this is stuff that you need to be thinking about. Why am I not doing this strategy instead of that strategy? Why don't I shift into a new strategy? Why don't I look at a new way of doing things? Okay, so guys, this is all of the stuff which is quite important. Now, as I mentioned, I had a number of messages this week. I see Ellie Ballroom's comment in the chat how they found the 5-day bootcamp awesome, mind-blowing. Okay, mind-blowing. When you get one word and it's double barrel, that alone says a lot. So Ellie Ballroom, thank you for your comment in the chat. It was great to participate with you also on the 5-day property finance bootcamp. And hopefully for those of you who are watching this who weren't participants, seeing that comment mind blowing helps you understand about the amount of value that we're packing into our programs and our resources to help you guys move further, faster in your property investing journey. So mind-blowing. Wow, powerful word. So guys, yes, I was saying to you that maybe we need to start looking at how we strategically shift our strategy from the strategy we've been doing. Some of you who are watching this might be doing single let, buy to lets. Some of you might be doing HMOs. Some of you might be doing rent to rent. You might be doing all of these different property investing strategies. But the reality is right now, as you can see that there's a shift in the market, as you can see that things are altering and things are changing, you might say to yourself, well, hold on a minute. I might actually be able to tap into another route. I might be able to actually tap into something else, which will radically help me to move further faster in my property investing journey. So what might that be? It might be a shift of strategy. It might be, okay, let me look at a flip opportunity. Let me look at if I can buy something very quickly, okay, and utilize that particular acquisition to sell that on when it's post-COVID or post-lockdown or post the actual stamp duty holiday. Now, let me say this to you. If you're a serious property investor, the stamp duty holiday isn't the only way you're going to buy property. You're going to buy property regardless of the stamp duty holiday. So I want you guys to be mindful, if you're a serious investor, that the stamp duty holiday isn't your barrier to entry or your assistance to entry. You should know that you're going to go forward in property because you're going to go forward in property, not because people are asking you to go forward in property. So I want you guys to be very, very mindful of that. We're going to put the chat on the screen. We've got, I guess, a couple of questions coming through right now. And guys, if you've got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Alternatively, if you want to really talk through things, if you want me to get a lot of detail and context in order to give you some substantive answer, feel free to phone in. Phone line is at the bottom of the screen, 0330 606 0403, and we can take your questions and also help you in that regard. So, chat is on the screen now. Okay, so question comes in from Susie4, who says flip, question mark, how to do a flip. All right, so I'm going to answer this quite simply. If you want a more in-depth answer, one of the best things you can do is probably go and get our resource, which is 30 ways in 30 days. This particular resource, we break down 30 different ways that you can invest and make money in property. So again, Susie 4, this might be helpful for you, 30 ways in 30 days, where I basically break down 30 different strategies you can use to invest in property. Now, one of the reasons I actually do that is because that helps people when seasons like this come up, which are traditional seasons, people can pivot. People can say, you know what, I've been doing the rent to rent strategy, but I'm going to pivot into flips, or I've been doing the buy to let strategy, I'm going to pivot into HMOs, etc., etc. So understanding multiple strategies always helps you. And this actually says this in the subtitle of the program. It says 30 ways in 30 days, multiple ways to generate revenue using property. So a program like that can radically help you. Now, let's jump into answering the question. Susi4 asked the question, flip, question mark. So what is a flip? A flip is a property strategy. It's a way to generate revenue in property, specifically to generate profits in property. Now, a profit is a liquidated finite amount of money that when you make that, you cannot make it again from the same property because you've sold the property. So what's the process of a flip? The process of a flip is buying a property, in some cases adding some level of value. You don't always have to add value, but then after buying the property, then choosing to sell the property. So for example, if you could buy a property from what we call a motivated seller, someone who's motivated to sell, so they could potentially offer you a discount. Now that motivation could come from multiple reasons. It could come from the fact that that seller has just recently got a divorce and wants to get rid of the house. They don't want the memories. That could be that seller has been recently received that house through means of inheritance, and as a result, they don't want the house, they don't want the memories, or they just want to sell the house because they don't live in the same city. Sometimes you get this all the time, you know, parents, elderly parents, they move out to the coast. They might live in Bournemouth, they might live in Brighton. They're trying to get away from the big cities. They kind of retire over there. They may pass away. After they pass away, they leave that house that they've moved to in the suburbs or in the other regions to their children. Now their children might live in London, their children might live in Birmingham, their children might live in Manchester, in those more cosmopolitan areas, and they might say, oh well, I've just inherited a house in Brighton, I've just inherited a house in Bournemouth, but I have no use for it. I'm not going to go to Brighton, I'm not going to go to Bournemouth, I don't want to manage a house out that far. So as a result, they may desire to sell their house and put their house on the market and be motivated to sell because they want to get rid of it as soon as possible because it's out of town for them. So again, motivated sellers are all over the place and have all different reasons why they want to sell. Now, if you came across a motivated seller and you were able to secure their property at a very good price, a very good discount, if we use that terminology, you may be able to, in 6 months after that, 8 months after that, 9 months after that, 12 months after that, depending on how much value you wanted to add to that property before selling it on, you may be able to sell that property on in the future. Now, if the discount you achieved was a considerable discount, you may be able to sell on the property without adding any value to it. The value you add to it is the fact that you negotiated at the beginning the great price. Okay, now there's a principle one of my property coaches taught me years ago. I don't share this a lot, but I will share it with you guys who have tuned into episode 42 today, and that is we make our money when we buy. Okay, if you're one of those people who do what I do, if you're watching this video live or on the replay, you've got your pen and paper, your notepad, your iPad, what I tell you is write that down. We make our money when we buy. When you deal with property, that should be one of the core mantras in your mind. I make my money when I buy. I make my money when I buy. Now, if you understand we make our money when we buy, what you'd equally understand is to make money when you buy, you have to buy at the right price, okay? So many people do not buy at the right price, and that's the biggest issue for so many people in their property journey. They buy at the same price everyone else buys, okay? Now, let me say this to you. If you buy at the same price everyone else buys, what makes you an intelligent investor out of you and the other person we're talking about? What makes you in a better position out of you and every other person who we're talking about moving forward? The answer is nothing. The answer is no one. And this is the problem for so many people, the fact that they just do what everyone else does but expect to get better results. How does that make any sense? Okay, if you've got a student in your class who's copying off of another student, and then you copy off of that student, do you really think that you're going to get a better result when your teacher marks the test? If the teacher doesn't identify that you are actually cheating, the teacher's going to only give you the same mark that he gave the other two, or she gave the other two students. Why? Because you copied, okay? And this is what many people don't realize. You see, you're going out there watching the same free YouTube content that everyone else is watching, and then going to buy the same properties in the same areas that everyone else is trying to buy, but yet you think you're going to get a better result. Guys, it doesn't work like that, okay? A mentor told me when I was 19, Samuel, why take 70 years to learn what you can learn in 7 hours by reading the book of someone who took 70 years to be able to write that book? And what I want you to understand is this is how you have to approach property investing. You have to look at property investing and say to yourself, look, I'm trying to do something that most people don't do. I'm trying to create financial freedom, financial independence, whatever you call it. I don't like those terms, but I'm trying to replace my income, or I'm trying to sack my wife's boss, or I'm trying to sack my spouse's boss, or I'm trying to sack my husband's boss. Now, if that's your mentality, if that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to get your cash flow up, okay, and do things nobody else in your family, in your legacy, in your culture has done before, then you're going to have to learn like nobody else has done before. And that's not just watching free content. That's not just jumping on the live show and saying, okay, I spent an hour each week with Samuel, I can win. Like, sometimes you have to go that step further. And this is why I commend people like Eddie Ballroom. I commend people like other people who decided to participate on our 5-day boot camp the other day. And even further to that, let me even talk about people who do want the free 99, okay? Because I've got a coach who always says, you know, there's always the free 99 bunch, FREE 99 bunch. They're people that just want things for free. Those of you who committed, okay, to the 21 days of your property investing success that we ran from the 1st to the 21st of January. Guys, let me tell you something. That level of commitment, again, is different. It shows that you think differently to other people investing in property. When you commit 21 days to consistently come back and engage with a program, that shows that you think differently. It shows you want things more. You want things differently to everyone else, okay? So I'll give you an example. We had my man, Timmy, who jumped on the 21 days of your property investing success. He jumped on really late. I think it was like day 15, day 16. But just the comments he was throwing in the chat shows that this guy was serious about taking and absorbing and cementing the information he was receiving. And this is where it makes the difference. You might have joined the 21 days of your property investing success late. You might have joined on day 15, day 20. But when you realize this is some great content, this is really powerful stuff, this is the kind of stuff people pay thousands for, like KTR, who jumped on the stream on day 3 and stuck with us all the way to day 21, and then even jumped into the 5 days of the property finance bootcamp. KTR kept saying throughout the 21 days, this is content which is more valuable than programs she's paid for as it pertains to property. But the thing is, some people will watch a video and be like, okay, cool, I got a lot of value, but not come back for day 3, not come back for day 4, not come back for day 5, and miss out the opportunity to advance themselves beyond the casual investor, or to advance themselves beyond the mediocre investor, or to advance themselves beyond other investors, okay? So guys, I want you to think about this. So let's go back into this question for Susie 4. As you can see, I'm very passionate about education, guys. That's why I was an educator previously. Even when I came into property and people started asking me, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? I said, you know what? I'll show people, I'll share with people, I'll create resources. These resources we create are not for me. These resources are for people who want to move further, faster in their property journey and want to understand how they can use property as a vehicle to replace their income, to replace their spouse's income, to move to a different space in their life. Now, Susie 4 asked the question, what is a flip? A flip is the acquisition of a property where you may or may not add value to that property, but then you go on to sell that property. Now, many people will tell you, no, a flip, you have to add value. That's not the truth, okay? That is not the truth. And like I mentioned a moment ago, the way you may add value may be through means of your negotiation at the beginning, because you've negotiated the deal for such a great price that there's already a margin for you to now sell that property at the price it should have been valued at and just make a profit from that alone. So Sissy 4, hopefully that helps you with both parts of your question, flip, and also how do you do a flip. Now, I see my comments are popping off right now. I can see the comments are just coming through, flooding through. Thank you guys, those of you who are engaging in the chat. Always great to see people engaging in the chat. Excuse me, sharing and getting value. Guys, let me know, what are your property challenges? If you guys have additional property challenges that you are facing, let me know so we can see how we can help you move further, faster in your property investing journey. All right, I got my man Callum Baloka in the chat. He says, powerful knowledge, most welcome. Again, Callum Baloka, do for us what Ellie Ballroom did for us a moment ago. Share with us one word that you would use to describe the 5-day property finance bootcamp that you were a part of. Let us know in the chat one word that you would use to describe the 5-day property finance bootcamp that you were a part of, that we finished up yesterday. All right, Susie 4 says in the chat, another question, but when you buy, you need to pay solicitors, stamp duty, surveyor, estate agent, etc. Not always an estate agent, not always actually a solicitor, and And in this current climate, depending on how you're structured, not even always a stamp duty. So that's actually quite interesting. But let's get to the question and then we'll finish. Commission, etc., etc. They have a better way to do. I think the question is do you have a better way to do a flip without paying all this cost? Yeah, of course. One of the ways is called a assisted sell. Okay, an assisted sell is a way you can do a flip. Again, this is another strategy which we speak about in the program 30 ways in 30 days. So an assisted sell is another way you can do a flip without making all of those expenses, because you are assisting the seller to make a sale and you generate a revenue through means of that process. So an assisted sale is one of the ways you can do that. But like I said a moment ago, I think it's important to actually mention what I mentioned a moment ago, because I think what I mentioned is really, really powerful and I really want to share that with you guys. In the current climate we're in right now, okay? So I want you to understand this, because I want you to think about this in terms of what you're doing to move forward in your property journey. In the current climate we're in right now, solicitors are not the only people that can do what we call conveyancing. Conveyancing is the legal process to hand over a property from one party to another, okay? So solicitors are not the only people who can do conveyancing. There are conveyancers who can do conveyancing. And in many cases, people don't know this, but in many cases, conveyancers may charge you less than a solicitor will charge you to do conveyancing, okay? So that's one thing to think about. Conveyancers do conveyancing, and there are cases where conveyancers will charge you less than an actual solicitor will charge you to do the conveyancing on a property. So that's first. So you don't have to pay, you don't need to pay a solicitor. The next thing is we currently have a stamp duty holiday up until the 31st of March. And as I was talking about earlier on in the show, there are ways you can take advantage of that by using bridging loans or other non-regulated, unregulated lenders rather than the traditional regulated lenders. So again, that could be of benefit to you. That could be of value to you, because that could help you see how you don't have to necessarily pay stamp duty because you take advantage of the holiday. The next thing is surveyors. Yes, you should, okay? Now, legally, again, if you go through a standard conveyancing process, legally, you don't have to pay for a surveyor, but you should always pay for a surveyor. And one of the ways you're usually forced to pay for a surveyor is because if you use traditional lending with a traditional mortgage broker or a traditional lending bank, let's say, for example, you decided to take a mortgage out with Birmingham Midshires, in your payment to Birmingham Midshires, they will include a surveyor's fee because they're lending you the money. So they're seeing it as an investment for themselves as well. So they will send a surveyor because they want to know from a structural surveyor's point of view, is this worth our money? Is this worth our lending? Is this really worth what Callum Beloka, what Ellie Ballroom, what Susie Force says this is worth, okay? So you will get, in many cases, the surveyor fee that has to be paid, and I would encourage you to pay it. You don't always have to pay. If you're buying cash, you don't have to use a surveyor. I would encourage you to use a surveyor regardless, because using a surveyor is helpful. And then the last one is estate agents. Now, those of you who have been on our Monday masterclass, we run a masterclass every single Monday at 8 p.m. It's called Taking Advantage in This Current Climate and Win. How you can take advantage in this current climate and win. I share 3 secrets that I usually teach only my 7-module online program students. And those 3 secrets show you how you can actually hack exactly what Susie 4 is talking about in this specific comment. So Susie 4 is saying here, you have to pay estate agents. And what you have to understand is there are ways you will not have to pay an estate agent if you know other creative ways to acquire property opportunities. And this is why I spoke earlier in the show about motivated sellers. Because if you are working with motivated sellers, 9 times out of 10, you don't have to pay an estate agent, because you know how to find motivated sellers, you know how to attract motivated sellers, and you know how to work with motivated sellers in order to move further faster in your property investing journey. So guys, again, let me know your comments. Let me know what you think about the things I've just said. Let me know what you think. Susie4 put a strong comment / strong argument here and says, when you buy, you need to pay for solicitors. When you buy, you need to pay estate agents. You need to pay for stamp duty. You need to pay surveyors. Let me know what you guys think about what I just shared, because I just gave away that you can cut potentially half of those commissions out, okay? But not everybody uses those ways. And again, it goes back to what I said a moment ago, which is why my man Callum Beloka said in the chat, powerful knowledge. I shared it a moment ago, guys, to help you understand. there are ways that you can do things which are different to the mainstream ways people do things. If you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. Most people just do what everyone else does as it pertains to property investing. Why? Because there's no school teaching property investing. People go to school and learn economics. They go to school and learn science. They go to school and learn statistics. They go to school and learn mathematics. They go to school and learn English. They learn all of these things, but they don't learn property investing. So if you do take a methodical approach to your education as it pertains to property investing, you may see property investing completely different to how you've seen it previously. And that's how I see things. I've been studying creative property investing since 2004. And I can assure you that I see property investing very different to a lot of people that I come across in my life. So, guys, we're here to help you move further faster. Let us know your comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you think you can actually utilize some of the things I just shared. Are you going to just hear that stuff, or are you going to actually put it to practice? Let me know in the chat. So my man Callum Baloka, he gives his 1-word comment for how he found the 5-day property finance bootcamp. His words are priceless. I love that. Priceless. So how do you charge people for a priceless program? I don't even know. Oh my gosh. Guys, these are the questions I have to ask myself sometimes. If we are going to produce a program that is priceless, how do we price it? All right, guys. So we've gone through a bit of the chat. I can see you guys are with us today. You are definitely rocking with us, and you guys are sharing a whole bunch of insights. Let me say this, because I think this is going to be extremely helpful to some of the people who are rocking with us on the show right now. Okay, one of the things I want to share with you guys, so you guys can definitely move further faster, is this key resource, our 7 best books for your property investing success. Now, let me tell you this. We have questions all the time. Susie 4's question is a very good example of this, where people could tap into these resources, tap into these 7 best books I talk about, and just from reading through them, engaging with some of the content, they will actually start to understand how they can take advantage in this climate and win. And this is the reason why we call our Monday Masterclass every single week that title, how to take advantage in this current climate and win. Because what we've learned and what we've come to understand is that there are certain things you can do slightly differently. So for example, one of the books I talk about in this 7 best books for your property investing success talks about how to automate your property investing journey, how to automate your property investing and property management activity. Now, if you understood how you could radically automate a number of the activities that you're doing in your property investing journey, I can assure you that that would have a massive effect, an absolutely massive effect on some of the things that you will be able to do moving forward in property, because you'll have more time. Okay, you'll probably be able to stay at your full-time job whilst investing in property. You'll have way more time, you'll have way more insight, and you'll be able to be way more successful. So guys, this stuff is extremely important. I want you to be thinking about this as you move forward in your property investing journey. And look, for those of you who just want that extra bit of value, here is the work. You know, this is 1 day of the work that we were basically getting down to as we were actually working on the 5-day property finance bootcamp. The bootcamp was intensive. I felt it was intensive anyway, maybe because I was the lead trainer. But, you know, like Callum Baloka said, you know, he found it priceless. Like my man Ellie Ballroom said a moment ago, he found it mind-blowing. So I want you guys to understand that these resources that we recommend, we're not recommending them just for the sake of recommending them. We're recommending them because we want you to understand that you can utilize this stuff to radically make a massive change in your property investing journey. That's what this is about, guys. That is exactly what this is about. It's about helping you to move further faster, helping you to understand how you can utilize certain resources and just take your property game to another level. So thank you ever so much, Callum Baloka, for your comment about priceless. I agree. It was an amazing program, amazing 5 days. And guys, I want you guys to go out there, utilize what we spoke about. I know you guys have already shown evidence of already utilizing it, but to keep winning. And those of you who were on the program, if you haven't finished your day 5 homework, get your homework finished, okay? Because it's due today. Get your homework finished. I want your day 5 homework in as well. And for those of you who are not a part of the 5-day bootcamp, guys, Go and take advantage of this. Link is on the screen. Impactproperties.co.uk/book list. Go get your 7 best books for your property investing success. It's going to help you guys. It's going to help you. And for those of you who haven't already, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Side by side with that, press that subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Let the YouTube world know that this is some good content and you want to use this to move yourself forward further, faster, but also to move people in your community further, faster, because that's what we do. Now, before we wrap up on tonight's show, let me jump into the chat. Let me see if we got any other comments in the chat that you guys want me to grab hold of, that you guys want me to be aware of, that you guys want me to know. Okay. And I think that was a great question from you, Susi4, about how do you basically do a flip, what is a flip, etc. Guys, questions like that, like I say, there's no question too big, there's no question too small. One of the biggest mistakes we can make, and I spoke about this on the 21 days of your property investing success, is we will be in an environment like this, we will have questions and we won't ask them. You know, we'll have questions and we'll keep them to ourselves. We'll have questions and we'll just leave it and just assume that one day we'll get the answer. And guys, look, let me share something with you. Okay, let me share something with you. What I want to share with you is this. Okay, I've got this mantra, and those people who are our students on the 7-module program, I share it with them all the time, and it's the mantra on the baseball cap. Okay, one seller away. Let's see if we get that focus. Okay, we got that buttery focus right there. One seller away. Now that mantra is something I share with all of our students who jump on our 7-module online program. Now the reason we actually share that, okay, is because I want people to understand that there is one deal. You are one deal away, one seller away, okay, from buying the property that will radically change your financial situation. You're usually one seller away, okay, from jumping onto a place or jumping into a place in your property journey that you could never ever jump into previously. So I want you to be mindful of that. All right, we got a caller coming through. Let's take the caller if we can. This should be ready to go. Caller 2552. Who do we have on the line?
Yes.
Hello and good evening. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Anna. Hello, good evening.
Hi, Anna. Great to have you on the show. How you
Anna
doing?
Getty.
How you doing, Anna?
Fine, thank you.
Excellent. Anna, what is your question? Actually, before I ask you that, this is your first time tuning in, Anna. Is that correct?
No, I have been before.
Okay, you've been before, so you're back again. You're someone who's back again. Anna, let me just ask you 2 questions. First question, are you happy for the world of YouTube to hear exactly what you're going to ask me? And are you also happy for the YouTube world to hear what I'm going to share with you as my thoughts in terms of what you ask?
Yes.
Excellent. Awesome. 100% awesome. So, Anna, take it away. What is your question?
My question is, I sell in a property with a tenant in.
Mm-hmm.
I already filled up all the question about the property, which kind of property it is. I sent back to the lawyer. But now the agent said to me that water tube was broken in the bathroom. Water went to the ceiling. The ceiling of the kitchen, the chassis is in the ground floor. The bathroom is in the first floor.
Okay.
We have some stain and some kind of damage. The question is, I need to disclose this or no? Because when I fill up the question, I didn't know about this problem.
Okay.
And I don't want to jeopardize the sale. I mean, I have the obligation, it's compulsory, something happens some days before you sell, you need to report it, or we can blame the buyer if the buyer don't go to check the property before buying. I mean, he don't.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, this is a question because I want to sell as quick as possible, and I don't have to take the time to repair the ceiling. But in the future, I can be accountable if I don't disclose this little problem. It's not a big problem. I already checked the cost. The cost to repair this is £260. I mean, not even I need to claim on the insurance because the insurance has 250 I mean, I can claim after 250 pounds pay for 10 pounds. I don't want to make a claim. But I don't have, I mean, it's not a big cost to repair. I mean, I need to disclose that or no. I don't want to have a problem after I sell the property. You know, the buyer coming to me and say, oh, you're hiding something that was not true at the moment that I feel that the paper was okay. I didn't know.
Okay, awesome. So, first question I have, this is for the viewers. Viewers, let me know in the chat if you can hear Anna. Anna has just asked an awesome question, which I think is really, really helpful for some people, because some people who are watching this are going to have some kind of issues going on which might relate to this, or you may have this going on in the future. So let me know in the chat if you can hear Anna by just putting the letter Y. If you put Y, I know you can hear Anna. If you can't hear Anna, just put the letter N, and then I know you cannot hear Anna in the chat. Now, Anna, this is what I'm going to say to you. If you're me, okay, the problem is a £250 problem. And you've said it 3 times. It's not a big problem. Thank you to my man, Callum Baloka, who puts a Y in the chat. First and foremost, £250, like you said, it's not a lot of money. It's not a big problem. So if you are me, I would disclose it. Okay, I'm putting my hands up. I'm telling you what I would do. I would disclose it. The reason I would disclose it is because I want to be ethical. Now, being ethical as an investor is not just about being nice to people when you buy. It's also about being nice to people when you sell, if you want to use that terminology. Now, some people believe in karma. Some people believe in the Bible. The Bible says what you sow, you shall reap. Some people will have a different reason why they would disclose. But the point I'm making, whatever reason it is to disclose, I personally, if you're asking me, okay, Ellie Ballroom says not too clearly, that's fine. I'll share the question in a moment. If you're asking me, I would say share. I would say share it and disclose it. So just to recap, for those of you who are tuned in, if you haven't been able to hear Anna, Anna calls in, and Anna's just called in with a great question. Anna said she's in the process of selling a property. The property she's in the process of selling, she has now, after the a price has been agreed and all of those things, she has now been made aware that there is actually damage in the property that she was not aware of previously. And that damage is apparently a leak, which will take £250 to repair. Now, one of the powerful things is Anna's already said that she knows she can go through her insurance in order to repair it, but equally she doesn't want to go through her insurance, pay a £10 excess to get the £250 claim done when it could potentially jeopardize the sale. Now, some of you may not understand this, but if Anna says to the buyer that there's a problem in the house that she didn't disclose previously, or a problem in the house that they weren't aware of previously, what they can say is, oh, well, if there's a problem, we're going to take 2,000 off the house. Or if there's a problem, we don't want to buy anymore because it's going to take longer, or blah, blah, blah. So Anna's whole fear or worry or concern is she doesn't want to jeopardize the sale. She wants the sale to go through regardless of the problem, whether the problem can be fixed, can't be fixed, 250, etc. She doesn't want the sale to be affected if she discloses. So that's what Anna's concerned about, okay? Anna's not concerned about the money. For those of you who are listening, she's more concerned about the sale going through. Now, Anna, I've got a question for you. Quick question, okay? Do you trust your legal representative? Do you trust your solicitors?
I don't know. I don't know. He said to me, if I say something to him, he needs to disclose. If I don't say something to him and he don't know, he don't want to disclose anything. This is the answer that he gives me.
Okay, that's good.
I mean,
That's good.
he said, you say to me, well, if you have problems, I need to disclose. You don't say to me anything, the sale go through as it is. But I had this mental problem, because I was thinking what I need to do. Leave the things go as it is, or declare. But if I declare, I am scared that they decide not to buy. Decide not to buy the property. This is I am scared of this, because I want to sell the property quickly.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Anna. So this is why I asked you if you trust your solicitor. Now, When I ask a question like, do you trust your solicitor? In my head, I'm thinking there's only two answers, yes or no. And from your answer, the answer is no. Okay. So this is the situation. If you trust the solicitor, he has to be the kind of solicitor, or she has to be the kind of solicitor that says to you, Anna, tell me, and then I'll tell you whether I can help or not. Now, if the solicitor is already saying to you what you said, if you tell me, I have to disclose. If you don't tell me, I've got nothing to disclose. That is no. That's no, you don't trust the solicitor, because you know you cannot tell them, because if you tell them, they have to disclose. Okay. So we're going to go down another road. What I was going to say is, if you trust the solicitor, you can tell the solicitor and ask the solicitor their opinion. Now, if you don't trust the solicitor, this is what you can do. You give the solicitor a story. You say to the solicitor, Mr. Solicitor, Mrs. Solicitor, Miss Solicitor, if I was buying a property and there was a problem in the property and the person who was selling the property found out just a week before the exchange and they didn't tell me, how much trouble can that person be in? Is it good for that person to do that? What you can now ask them all of the questions. Now, you haven't disclosed anything. You're hypothetically talking about a story. But if you do that properly, the solicitor, whether you trust or don't trust, in the case where you don't trust, this is a better route to go down. The solicitor should be able to give you some insight and advice about what they think. So you can even say, Mrs. Solicitor, if I was going to sell a property, I want to just know your thoughts on this theoretical situation. If I was going to sell a property and I found out a week before the exchange that there's actually a hole in the wall that I didn't know before. If I do not disclose, even though it's just a £300 repair, which really I could go through the insurance, pay £20-30 excess and have it repaired. If I do not disclose, is that ethical? Is it right? Is it wrong? Am I breaking the law? The solicitor will then tell you, well, theoretically speaking, if you don't disclose, this could happen. Or if you do disclose, this could happen. Okay? So the point I'm saying, Anna, is there's two ways you can get your answer. If you really trust the solicitor, like for me, the power team I trust them. Okay? This is why I created this resource a long time ago, Team 10. To help people understand the 10 key players you need in your property journey are people you need to be able to trust. Now, if you trust the solicitor, you should be able to say, listen, Vanessa, this is the situation. Okay? I didn't know when I put the house on the market, there was a problem. But now I know there's a problem. The tenant has recently told me there's a leak. Because of the leak, there's a bit of damage. It's going to cost £250. I'm not bothered about the money, but I am bothered about the sale. And because I'm bothered about the sale, I don't want to jeopardize the sale. What do you think I should do? Then my solicitor, Vanessa, will say to me, look, Samuel, as a brother, this is what I think you should do. As a brother, this is what you should probably do. This is what you should think about. Then I might say, okay, Vanessa, what's the worst that could happen? Vanessa's now going to say to me, look, this is the worst that could happen. You don't say anything, then they put a lawsuit against you afterwards. And when they put a lawsuit against you, you have to go to court. You have to sort it out. Or you don't say anything, they find out, they think it's nothing, they crack on, they don't care. Or you say something and they walk away from the sale. Or you say something and they say, okay, it's no problem, it's £250. You claim on your insurance, get it repaired for the $250. After you get it repaired, we do the completion straight after, the next day. So the point is, there are so many options, whether you go down the truth or you don't go down the truth, you omit the truth. But for me, Anna, I would disclose. I'm just telling you what I would do, because this is what we do on the show. I would disclose. If I have a solicitor I trust, I will have that conversation. If I have a solicitor I don't really trust, I will have a hypothetical, theoretical conversation and get some information from them, and then I will make my decision about how I will proceed. Does that help you, Anna?
But if I keep silent, I broken the law or no?
I don't know if you've broken the law if you keep silent. I'm going to be honest. The reason why is when you do your conveyancing, some of the documentation you sign will say, in some cases, Any defect or issue with the property that you're aware of, you should make them aware. Sometimes you sign contract like that. Sometimes you don't. This is why I said you should have a theoretical conversation with your solicitor if you don't trust them, or a practical conversation with your solicitor if you do trust them, because the solicitor is going to know if you signed a document like that. You should know because you're supposed to read the contents of what you sign. But if you don't know, defer back to the solicitor and have that conversation with them. For me, it's not ethical for a seller to know there's a problem with a property and not share it. For me, that's not ethical, especially when it's £250. You don't need to destroy a relationship because of £250. But most people, like yourself, Anna, you're probably selling with an estate agent, so you don't even know the person. Okay? You don't even know the person who, yeah. So because you're going through an agent, you don't know the person. So because you don't know the person, maybe it makes you feel more comfortable about not disclosing. For me, I don't care who the person is. If the person is a stranger or the person is my friend, I have to do the right thing in my mind. And for me, the right thing is to share. Listen, guys, last week the tenant called me. They said there's a £250 problem. It's nothing big. I'll give you £250. I'll knock £250 off the property. Or let me delay the sale. Let's do an exchange tomorrow, but let's delay the sale so I can claim on my insurance, get the thing repaired, and then we complete 2 days after the repair. How do you think about that? That's what I would say. We've got my man Ellie Ballroom in the chat. Ellie Ballroom says for you, Anna, if the sale does not go through, call him.
Okay.
Anna, let me ask this.
Yes. You know, but the lawyer said to me, if the thing don't go through, still you need to pay to me.
The solicitor, yes.
This is one other thing. It's £1,000 thrown away.
You're not, listen, Anna, listen to this. Never see this as throwing away money. You see, property investment, sometimes is good, sometimes things go wrong is bad, okay? Just like anything in life. It's like Monday. Some people wake up Monday is a bad day just because it's Monday, because they have to go to work. Yeah? That doesn't mean that the day has to be a waste because it's a bad day. So the point I mean, if you spend 1,000 or invest 1,000 into a solicitor and you don't end up getting what you want, it might be a bad thing, but it doesn't mean it's a waste. Okay? Because you should ask yourself, what did I learn from this situation? What did I take from this predicament? How can this situation actually help me? Now, the next thing, sometimes you can do what we call swap out. Okay? Swap out is where you replace something with someone else. So I'm not saying as an example, but Ellie Ballroom, he's in the chat. He just say, if the sale doesn't go through, call me. The point I'm making is, if you line up another prospective buyer, maybe even you phone the agent, hey, you know, you guys found me a buyer. I'm just thinking, if I decided to choose another buyer because this buyer doesn't want to go through, how soon would it take you guys to find me a buyer? Because you have to remember, the agent gets paid their percentage only if the sale goes through. So the agent should be willing to find you maybe a plan B or a plan C. Or because you come to the live show today, my good friend Ellie Ballroom is maybe going to be your plan B. I don't know. But the point is, you say to the solicitor, if it doesn't go through, I've got another buyer. I want you to complete the conveyancing. If you trust them, if you like them, if you want them to carry on, you say, I'm going to pay you the fee, but I'm not going to pay you more because it's someone else, because it's a swap out. We're swapping the buyer. Some solicitors are going to argue with you. Oh no, we did all this paperwork for this person. Now we have to do the new paperwork for the other person. Let them argue. If you want, you stay with them. If you want, you go a separate way. It's up to you. But the point I want you to understand, Anna, don't see bad as waste. Okay? Bad should be a lesson. Good is amazing. When it's Friday, it's Friday. Everybody's happy. The end of the week, they don't have to go to the job. Okay. But does that mean Friday is a better day than Monday? No. Monday, 24 hours to learn. Friday, 24 hours to learn. So for me, Anna, it doesn't have to be a waste. Okay? Just think about how you can use it to the best of your ability and to your advantage. Okay? Let me ask this, Anna. I don't know if you want to share this much information. I was going to say, which area is the property in the country?
It's County Durham.
County Durham. Okay. And roughly, what's the purchase price that they agreed to buy from you?
is 33,000.
33,000. So most likely,
Cash.
yeah, I
Cash.
was gonna say most likely they're cash buyers or they're using a bridging loan. Yeah, because obviously 33,000 they won't
Yes,
get a
cash
mortgage.
buyer. Yes.
Okay, cool. So do you feel that if they walked away from the sale, you will not get another buyer? Is that the fear? Is that the worry?
The worry is I am scared to keep having the property and not selling it for so many months. This is my.
I get it.
I am scared. I said maybe I cannot find one other buyer in the next 6 months.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's too much to pay for insurance and so many things, so many costs and tax and a lot of things. And I prefer to sell and other people enjoy the business.
Yeah.
People are more close to the property. I cannot manage the property from London.
Where you are. Okay, I understand that. So guys, I hope you've heard what Anna said. Anna basically said her real concern is she doesn't want to carry all the holding cost of owning the property for all of that time. The price that the person who is buying for is obviously a cash amount because of the simple fact that you won't get a mortgage for less than 45, 50,000 pounds these days. So basically, Anna's basically saying her real concern is she just wants to make sure that she's not waiting a whole nother 6 months of paying building insurance, etc., holding the property. So Anna, with all of that being said, like I said, there's a few things you can do. One, you can reach out to the estate agent, just have a preemptive conversation with them. Two, you can have one of the two kind of conversations I described with the solicitor, basically saying to the solicitor, listen, this is the situation, or saying to them, if theoretically this was the situation, what do you think? Am I breaking the law? Is the person breaking the law? If they do not disclose, have those conversations. But Anna, you said already, it's £250. Let me say this, £250 is not enough money, in my opinion, of you, Anna. When I think of you as a person, £250 is not enough money for you to go to bed at night and be worried about in 6 months, 7 months, saying, I never said anything, I should have said something, I hope they never call me again, I hope they never take me to court. It's not worth it for £250. This is my opinion. Because some of us, we're very caring people. So if we say to ourselves, oh, I'm not going to say anything, then 3-4 months down the line, you can't sleep at night because of £250. It's not worth it. It's better that you say, look, I'm going to take my own £250 and pay for it. Or you say, you know what? Me spending money now, £250 to repair it, means I know I'm not going to jeopardize the sale. Or the second hand, I'm just going to ask the insurance to do the claim. That's it. I'm going to call the insurance and say, listen, this is the problem. I need you to come and do this as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. They might say, oh, it's going to take 3 months. It doesn't matter to you because you're going to get it done before you sell the property. It just depends on how you want to do it, Anna. But Anna, from my knowledge of you, I think you should do what you know is right. You're asking the question because you know what you want to do, but you want someone to tell you, no, Anna, don't say anything. Just don't worry about it. You know, you're going to get away with it. You see, that's the problem for most people, Anna. They try to get away with everything. They try to take the shortcut. Someone told me once, if you don't do something properly once, you end up doing the same thing twice. I see so many people like this, Anna. They don't paint the room properly the first time. They end up painting the room 2 times. So you have to think about that as well. Okay, I got my man Osai Kimwin in the chat. He says, always awesome and value for moving forward. I appreciate that. Thank you ever so much, Osai Kimwin in the chat. So Anna, what's your thoughts from what we've shared? Do you feel like this has been helpful for you to speak to someone else about it and think about it from a different perspective?
It's okay. It has been helpful because clarifies some points. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Anna, thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. Have you got any other questions you want to ask? Any other property questions?
Yeah, you can send to me the link for Monday program, please.
Which program? The boot camp, the 5-day boot camp.
Monday Mastermind, you say early. Monday Mastermind. This is for anyone or is for only for the students?
Only for the students. It's the Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday is the free show. Every Saturday 6 p.m. is the free show for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah?
Perfect.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much for all.
Most welcome, Anna. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Okay, and it's good to hear your voice. It's been a long time from the networking events.
Okay, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Most welcome. Take care. Have a great day and enjoy the show. All right, guys. Thank you, Anna. All right, guys. So that was Anna who called in. Great to have Anna on the show. And just basically sharing her situation, sharing her questions, and also sharing what she's dealing with in terms of her property journey. All right, so let me see if I can get this off. Awesome. Again, guys, if you have property questions, property challenges that you want us to strategize with you through, just like Anna did, feel free to call in. The phone line is actually still open: 0330-606-0403, 0330-606-0403. Also, Kinwin, thank you for jumping in the chat and letting us know that you are on the stream. Always a pleasure to have you. We have my man Ellie Ballroom, who said to Anna, if the sale does not go through, call me. So Ellie Ballroom, thank you for making that that comment and letting people know that there are investors in the thread. There are investors in the chat. There are investors ready to move. Guys, this is the thing we've got to be mindful of. This is why sometimes it's just powerful to share your situation. This is why we make the show. This is why we allow people to phone in. This is why we allow people to send in the chat. And this is why we ask people, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you haven't pressed subscribe, press subscribe. If you haven't hit the bell, hit the bell. And we just let you see the chat on the screen because we want you to know that there are people out here who want to move forward. All right. So Susie4 in the chat says, post your number, please. So I think that is to Ellie Ballroom, a request for you to post your number. All right. So guys, this is how things go. This is how things can move. This is how we move further, faster in our property investing journey. Now, guys, with all of that being said, I am going to let you know that if you want to, I get it now. Anna said we should let her know about the masterclass. Okay, I thought she said the mastermind. She's asking about the masterclass. Anna, apologies. The masterclass is on Monday, and you can go to the link, which I'm going to put on the screen right now. I apologize. I just realized she was asking about the masterclass. So here's the link for the masterclass. Anyone who's interested in participating in our upcoming masterclass, it is taking place on Monday. Okay, Monday. And boy, these Mondays come round quick. These Mondays come round extremely quick. Sometimes the Mondays come round so quick I don't even see them coming, but that's probably because I don't work the job anymore and I just add value to you and me for sure. Yes, I'm rhyming, guys. I hope you see that. So without further ado, let me just encourage you and inform you, as I've just informed Anna and the rest of you guys. If you are interested in being a part of our masterclass on Monday, you can do that by simply going to the link on the screen, impactproperties.co.uk/masterclass. I'll say it again, impactproperties.co.uk/masterclass. And if you haven't registered, go register now to our upcoming masterclass on Monday. Link is right here, impactproperties.co.uk/masterclass. You can use that link to be on the masterclass, to register for your seat on Monday and get all of the value, not some, all of the value, in order to help you move further, faster in your property investing journey. Now, I know you guys have got value on tonight's show. I know that you now know that you're only one seller away from dramatic life change. So as I usually say, guys, happy investing. Let us know in the chat how you found today's show. And I'm going to love you and see you on the next one next week. Have a great night. Happy investing, guys.